Now, there's always something very magical about hard plane landings. But I don't know what happened here, but maybe a hard plane landing happened. Probably the pilot touched down on the left main landing gear first with quite a velocity, I would say, and so the left main landing gear collapsed. That actually might have happened. And yeah, now the plane is kind of useless. I guess it doesn't want to fly anymore. Actually, this exact scenario happens a lot more often than people might think. You know, if you just stumble upon the internet. For example, a Korean Air pilot broke its plane's landing gear axle in a hard landing, and this really does look pretty serious. Wait, is that the video of the incident? I think so. Oh damn, that is a hard landing indeed. You know, these things happen, and even very skilled pilots can do hard landings, and hard landings are actually sometimes better than smooth landings, especially when you land on shorter runways, or I don't know. Sometimes a pilot chooses to do a hard landing because it's a good thing. Something similar happened here, I guess. I think I've seen this video before. This plane is just chilling, and the cameraman is just filming that plane and doing whatever, and then casually this plane slips by. Oh, hello there. Yeah, these things actually happen all the time. Actually not, but actually they do. He did an emergency landing in his 737, and in that emergency landing he completely broke off his nose landing gear. Like, the nose landing gear was not even the problem initially. But yeah, this wasn't a very soft landing, was it? You know, we had recently talked about nose landing gear failures, because these are actually common. They're a lot more common than main landing gear failures, but especially back in the days, there were a lot of scenarios where the landing gear just didn't want to come out because of hydraulic issues. But in this video, let's focus on the hard landings. Let's try to land as hard as possible so that our plane breaks. Also, here we have this very famous clip, you know, it's quite legendary, of an MD-80 test landing, and that doesn't look like a very fine landing. Actually, the main landing gear still seems to be kind of intact, even though the nose landing gear is definitely broken. We're not even gonna talk about the tail of the plane, definitely. Oh, who else is here from Swiss001? Well, I am, technically, whatever. So, you know what? Let's actually begin with the MD-80. Let's land that as hard as possible. You know, normally we try to make the smoothest landing possible. Let's try to make the hardest landing possible. Yes, I have very good ideas, always. No, actually, the key to a hard landing is to stall the aircraft onto the runway, like literally. You just approach as slowly as possible and wait until the aircraft kind of crashes itself onto the runway, really. That's kind of what you do. Now we're power idle. Let's try to maintain the altitude now. Let's see how long it takes for the plane to just fall down onto the runway. Right, we have initiated a stall. I mean, we're still flying, actually. That's not good. Oh, okay, we have kind of touched down. That was probably not very good on center line. We're actually off the runway, but whatever. Now, that was a kind of a drift here as well. That was probably not a good landing, I would say. Now, something else I tried was touching down on the right main landing gear first, and not on both. That was almost a tail strike. Oh, you know, just so that all the force is centered on one of the two gear parts, and later on the right landing gear actually ended up collapsing. Now, a plane that is famous for its hard landings is the 737. Just the way that it's built, it's basically built for hard landings. Pretty much just like the A320. You know, these planes' designs have a big tendency to touch down on the harder side, to put it that way. Alright, let's try the same thing again, just stalling the plane onto the runway. Oh, I think we have lost some tires as well. That might not be good. Alright, but we're still going. Let's try stopping. Alright, this was actually quite disappointing. Yeah, that was probably not one of the best landings I have ever done. Actually, this time around, I touched down on the nose gear as well. That is probably gone as well now. But, I don't think the plane is gonna move anytime soon. Now, a plane that we have talked about earlier is the 777. You know, the 777 and the 767, these planes can also break their landing gears quite quickly on a hard landing. Alright, let's go ahead. I mean, it cannot be too bad of a landing, right? Alright, let's try this one. Oh no. Alright, that was really messed up now. That was kind of cool, wasn't it? I mean, next time I should probably try reaching the runway in the first place. We landed in this river, which ended up breaking our plane completely. Yes, the landing gear is definitely gone now. That is not good. I mean, the front is still okay, I guess. Another plane that is kind of easy to make a hard landing on is the 747. Yeah, it is actually pretty easy to mess up a landing in this plane, not going to lie. Yeah, we're getting very close to a crash crash, that's not good. Yeah, the 747 is quite an interesting plane to fly, definitely. Okay, whatever this was not very successful. This time around I tried breaking the nose landing gear. It didn't really work out, did it? I mean, we bounced after all. That was not very good. Right, if this video seemed a little pointless to you, you might be right. The lesson learned here is that you shouldn't land too hard, but you can land hard, but you shouldn't. Otherwise, you can break your landing gear, and you don't want to do that, right? So, yeah guys, thank you for watching today's video, and I'll see you tomorrow. As always, good night.